Welcome to Commander Pop Culture, a place to gather magical information with some laughs, might I add. Hello everyone, as you can tell, I have my green screen set up and I got a simple overlay. Just gonna do little baby steps. I'm in a lot of new territory, so I hope you all enjoy. Worked really hard to get this all together to where the channel is now. Today I'm gonna be building Bernard, the Ginger Sculptor. I already did a start where I have 33 lands, I have 12 card advantage engine cards, and then I have 12 removal spells and 2 board wipes. All in all, I'm left with 72 cards, but to gloss over everything, every land that I have is around $5 or less, and they all come in untapped. So if you're complaining that, the mana bases get too expensive, well, I got a solution for you. As you can tell, it's fairly affordable, and these are common things you have in your collection and in people's trade binders, so you should have already a decent starting spot, because if you don't own any of these lands, you probably should. And then Bernard,
the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man!
I'll talk about him briefly. Whenever a creature of yours dies, they come back as a 1/1 golem, and then they get a stat boost of +2/+2 from Bernard, and they get trample. So something to keep in mind of, Bernard is probably the only and the first, reanimator commander in banned colors. It's really cool what you can do with him. You care about all kinds of stuff. You care about ETB triggers, you care about death triggers, care about all kinds of sacrificial activations. This is going to be a very creature-heavy themed deck, and some of my picks are very dense if they fit in a certain slot and they fit the theme. If I could get ramp in a creature, I prefer that, because obviously it'll come back as a 3/3 golem down the road, which is a threat. Same with my card advantage. I want creatures to give me cards and removal. And some things I've kind of hedged already. So like Elemental Bod's an obvious fit. You draw a card every time a 3-power creature comes into play. So whenever something yours dies, you can't trip off of it. And then I got the classic package of 2 mana or less removal. The specific stuff I kind of get to play that I normally don't get to is, I normally feel like Populate is a really weak mechanic, but since you're making very unique tokens, populating those tokens actually means something. It's not like you're populating a 1/1 elf. You're going to be making a very unique creature with a unique death trigger, ETB trigger, sacrifice ability, what have you. This gives you more of something you already want. This will probably be one of the first decks I ever really truly want populate, like kind of peppered into my deck. Then I got some boring mana rocks, also following my rule of they have to be 2 mana or less. There is one land in my lands here that is more so for utility. High Market lets you tap for a mana, and it's untapped when it comes into play, so it's where you want to be. What it does is it lets you sack a creature to gain a life. You don't care about the 1 life, you care about the sack outlet from your land. And this is like the only utility land I'm running, and then I'm running 4 of each basic, and everything else is just to fix my mana. And then I was talking about how I want overlap in terms of I want a high creature count, but I also need to fulfill like those, the requirements of ramp, card advantage, and removal.
Troop leader says we are not meeting our quota.
So I got Birds of Paradise. Believe it or not, it's under $5. Coiling Oracle, which it serves a card advantage and a ramp slot. So that's a really dense card. I guess you could call that a 3-for-1. Low Shield, Clockwork Scholar. This one lets you draw at your end step if you made a token. Should happen every turn in this deck. Muldrifter. I like the evoke mechanic in this, because you kill it immediately and then it comes back again as an artifact golem. So when you evoke Muldrifter, you'll get 4 cards the turn you play it, which is super awesome. I like Sakura Tribuilder because, again, you get 2 sacrifice triggers and you get the ramp twice the turn you play it. Ideally, if Bernard's in play, or cantripping creatures and a card advantage engine like Garden Frostfang. So this deck is incredibly resilient to board wipes as well. You basically have to force your opponents to remove Bernard before they do anything else with the board. Now, since I covered the side pieces, the side dishes of, potatoes and green beans. Let's get into the meat of this dish I wish to serve all of you.
Just wait longer.
Care about ECV triggers, I care about sack outlets, and I care about death triggers. And I want them to be creatures, so I'm going to be spending a lot of time looking at those in particular. What I'm gathering is a lot of people that have been building Bernard has been going like food theme and golem theme, which I think is a very casual way to build this deck and not very functional. You're definitely playing a fringe deck if you're like, I'm gonna go crazy for food or I'm gonna go crazy for golems, because both of those archetypes kind of suck and we could do better. And I'm not the type of guy that makes recommendations of bad deck lists, and I want people that are watching to actually have something that's useful and fun to play. Because I'm following a budget of things to be around $5 or less, I can't put in these token doublers stuff, but when I make this into a highly competitive deck where I don't have a budget or it's limitless, bet your ass I'm gonna be playing all these token doublers. More value is awesome. Astronaut's Altar is pretty good. Free sack outlet, and it gives me mana to string more creatures together, so we're gonna throw that in here. I do like Solemn because I get to tutor for land twice, but the going rate of 4 mana isn't that great. But the death trigger is also nice because you get to draw cards. You know, I'm gonna throw it in there. And you know, if I do have more cards on the back end, you guys get to see how I make cuts. Hear my decisions based on that. Darksteel Splicer, I could get behind this. Makes all your golems indestructible, and you get to put 3 into play. It's a little spendy of 7 mana, but I think those abilities are worth your time. There's a Prince of Krug is an Anthem effect, a very good one, because +2/+2, and then you can make copies of artifacts you control. That might be worth trying. Never played it before personally. Haywire Might, good sack outlet, good utility. Ooh, Selfless Spirit's kind of good territory. It's a sack outlet on itself, protects my entire board. Why not? Kind of want to put the other spirit in here that exiles graveyards too. Nesting Dovehawk has a populate trigger on your combat step. That could be pretty sweet. Whenever a creature token enters the battle, if you put a counter on it, I think the populate trigger is what I'm interested in. Foundation Breaker is also sweet. It's evoke for 2 and blows up an artifact and enchantment. Ooh, I get to put in Boromir.
More like Borophyll.
Another sack outlet that protects my board. I like Eternal Witness. It's a very sweet card. And I get 2 of them. Cankerbloom, more utility. I'm going to probably destroy artifact and enchantment decks. Because there are tons of creatures that sacks themselves and destroys something else. Cathar Commando. Dawn Treader Elk, I like this card. It has a sack outlet on itself, so I can easily find 2 lands with this. While Wood Elves, I require another sack outlet, which I'm not too happy about. Dawn Treader Elk, you're going in here. I think there's one more creature out there that does this kind of effect. I think it's a 1-drop and it costs 2 to sack itself. You get to play Eldritch Evolution in Neoform. Heck yeah, I like good tutors like that. Ooh, this is a great Inspiring Statuary deck because the all my spells are non-artifacts, so I make plenty of them with my commander. Probably the best time to be playing Inspiring Statuary. I do need free sack outlets. So Altar Dementia's going in here. Blasting Station's going in here. Evolutionary Leap, I love it. Keep finding more creatures. Never have enough. Tempered Steel's a really good stat boost. I like Fanatical Devotion. It's a free sack outlet that regenerates a creature, keeps my commander alive, and lets me do everything I want at the same time. Martyr's Cause, more utility, sack outlet. Song of the World Soul. Every time you cast a spell, populate. It's $6. It's close enough. We'll throw it in here. Ooh, my deck probably could use a Reliquary Tower. Yeah. What's our color scheme here? Blue is my lowest color, so we'll cut a island for a Reliquary Tower. Even though it's a 3-color deck and I care about fixing my mana, Soul Ring is just too good to pass up. You have plenty of generic costs in your cards. It just enables you to string multiple spells together in a turn. That's what Commander is all about. Who can cast the most spells and see the most cards. If you underestimate either of those, you lose a lot of games. Okay, so I basically looked at everything EDH Rec would recommend to me, so I'm going to use my favorite search engine tool. I like Card Kingdom because the advanced search options are really good. You can select very simply what you want to be looking for. I care about creatures. I have the right colors selected. I have my price range set to $10. Card Kingdom kind of overinflates the prices, so I go to $10 and I expect it to be around $5 if I have anything on that upper end of the spectrum. TCG Player is just the cheapest place to get most Magic cards. So I already looked up all the creatures that I want for drawing. So let's try, let's look up Destroy.
Good answer.
And I want to see all the creatures in those colors that have the word destroy stapled onto them. Ooh, Elish Norn might be a good option in this deck because she's a sack outlet where you sack 3 other creatures. The flipper, her middle and bottom ability are super strong. Gives all your creatures +1/+1 and double strike. And its third ability, destroy all permanents for artifacts, lands, and Phyrexians, which is basically going to be all your deck. And then if she kills your non-golem versions of your creatures, that's great because they'll come back and give you what you want. Let's see what Elish Norn is going for on TCG Player. Yeah, you get a copy for $5. Perfect. Or throw that in here. I need some more win conditions anyways. I could make a bunch of 3/3s, but it's not really a good consistent way to close out games. Ooh, Kogla. I think my guy is a human. Is he a human artificer? He is. So I could bounce him back and have a layer of protection. Sure, I like Kogla. Kills artifacts, enchantments, protects your commander, also kills other people's creatures. Yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to have a lot of cards cut on the back end because you just want everything. You get to pull everything into a lump sum and just choose the best of the best. And that's probably why I'm pretty excited about this commander and this build so far. Yeah, if you're an artifact or enchantment strategy, you're going to have a hard time playing against me. I want them all. Most of the most broken things you could do is when you synergize heavily into either or of those types of permanents. I think I'll limit myself to 4 pages because then I'll see the most popular of 100 cards. Let's look up every creature that has a sacrifice in its text. Let's see what Phantasmal Image is going for. $4? $3? Excellent. Let's throw that in here. I like Phantasmal Image. The cheapest clone in the game. Prime Speaker Vanifar kind of fits what I want. Yeah, throw that in here. I would run a Karmic Guide, but unfortunately, the trigger to turn something into an artifact golem exiles the creature as well. Let's try Exile. I know there's a couple of creatures that I like that exiles people's stuff. Skyclave Apparition, that's what I want. For sure. I do need a way to make my creatures cheaper to cast, so maybe I want Cemetery Prowler. Play Cemetery Prowler in my Volo deck, and I like what it does there. I would play World Breaker, but I don't have enough lands that produce a colorless. False Prophet would be brutal. I've had games where I just hold the game hostage with False Prophet, but because I'm a creature deck, I kind of don't want to be doing that. Let's look up Enter the Battlefield. I have a feeling that I'm going to barely scratch the surface when building this deck of all the crazy things you can do with it. I'm probably going to need some help in the construction of this because this is going to be a really rough iteration of the deck. And I just have this feeling that there's probably a better one out there based on how many cards and strategies.
My God, this guy is like Leatherface, Chucky, and Jan Brady all rolled into one.
I have to probably look around online and see what other people are doing and see if I'm doing it right or wrong, or maybe get some more ideas for what to try. Let's try Dies Triggers. This is a cool card advantage out. The Dawn Sky, when it dies, look at the top 7, put any number of permanents that are 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Or it could put 2 counters on everything. Yeah, let's throw that in here. I like the flexibility. I guess a lot of the dragons have that kind of cool options to do. Ooh, Protein Hulk? I haven't played a Protein Hulk in a while. It might be a Hulk list that play this properly. That's a pretty epic death trigger. I do want to look at Populate as well. Population options are not the best under $10. Let's do some rough cuts. I got 25 to shave off. I'm very interested in the Protein Hulk lines. Basically, I would turn this into a creature combo deck of some kind where I just solely focus on finding it and then finding my creature combination that wins the game. I'm just not sure what it is yet. I'm pretty sure there's a couple that are in these colors and or would do the job. Like, I already know of a few ways to make infinite mana, but I'm not sure how to win the game with this color scheme. I did want to look up cost reduction for creatures. Cloud Key, we want that. I may need to throw in things like Overrun in this deck. What's it called? I want Stampede. Just old school stuff that Craterhoof kind of pushed out of the format. Cultivator of Blades. That's 17 cents. We'll try those as my finishers plus the Elish Norn for now. Just start from the top and start cutting. I already have board wipes. So I don't really need Steel Huckite. It's just a quality of life kind of a thing. We'll take away Fateful Absence and maybe Dispatch because it's a little inconsistent. Basically, if I find something wrong with it, it's going to go away. It's just a slow build-up. It's not like Overwhelming Stampede, where once I play it, I win. This is not, so we're gonna cut that. I have 51 creatures, so I could afford to cut those. Maybe Thoughtcast. I already got plenty of card advantage stuff, so we want more consistency. I wonder what my ETB count is. Maybe Panharmonicon isn't that great. Let's take a look at that. There's 19.
Man, it wasn't good enough!
Yeah, we'll cut Panharmonicon. 19 doesn't seem like it's worth my time. I'm already kind of getting a pseudo Panharmonicon effect with my commander, so we're just gonna get rid of that. It's a 4-mana do nothing the turn I play it. In a deck where I'm kind of diverging in all kinds of different directions, it just doesn't quite fit. Card selection, unless I'm sacking, something with power greater than 3. I think I've got plenty of other card advantage options. Don't know if I need Vital Splicer. I feel like I'm going to be spending a lot of my mana on my turn, and it doesn't protect my commander. If I lose my tokens, I've already gotten the value I already needed from them, minus I have a wide board of 3/3 threats. That's all I'm really missing out when I don't kind of focus on these 3 drops and higher. I don't know if I really need the acidic slime. This is a budget deck, so there aren't going to be a whole lot of lands worth me destroying, and then the artifacts and enchantments, I could do that effect for a lot cheaper. I guess I could make that same argument for Silverback Elder, which unfortunate because I kind of wanted to try this out. Got to be a little more credulous here. Second Harvest is dependent on my board. We're going to get rid of that. I have plenty sack outlets, and I don't really need Rex Age. Like I have Haven Wiremite, I got Casa Caterpillar, I got all kinds of other options that sack themselves, which is just strictly better. I guess Manglehorn can be cut too for that same reason. Maybe it's time I cut this because it's triple green. It's not the safest in the world. Yeah, if I wasn't a budget deck, I'd probably play this. And I got plenty of other card advantage, I guess. That's more consistent. 3 things with Glenalendra? Maybe that's not worth my time. I'm not getting entirely too much value out of it. I do have removal from the Skyclave Apparition, so we could make another cut over here. Kind of like my counter magic package. Don't have a lot of options to do that in a budget any better than I already am. Maybe Druid Purification isn't good enough. Yeah, if Rex Age wasn't good enough, then I guess that isn't either. Let's get rid of one of these. Essentially does the same thing. Kodama's Reach as well. Maybe I cut the 2-drop for engines over single time usage, and I got plenty of other ways to deal with artifacts and enchantments. I'll probably need to find a way to win with Protean Hulk once it dies. I think I'm just going to leave it as a value play because it's a budget deck and I don't want to rub anyone the wrong way. But in the future, when I make this into a really powerful one, when this dies, I'll just try to win the game from there. It'll stay for value though. I guess I could cut some of these weaker 2-drop creatures that just cantrip me a card. Well, I've been on the fence with the Solemn, so it's probably going to be the Solemn. Average mana value is 2.02. Not too bad. My creature count is 36. I think we got a decent deck on our hands here. I'll play this a couple of times, see if it works, what doesn't work. Make some changes probably between now and when I make the gameplay video. If you like what you saw, if you like what I've been doing with my channel, I'm clearly been improving it a lot. Got the screen, got the overlay. It's simple, but it adds to the theme of like movies and pop culture, which is the sub theme of the channel. I thought it'd be nice to add. And then eventually I'm going to do a welcome video for new subscribers and a welcome video for just people to be interested in my channel, just to spruce it up a bit. Yeah, I've got a lot of things on the docket. So subscribe. You'll have a great time. I promise you.
Promise? Yeah, I promise.
Everyone have a good one. Bye.